What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Healthier Choices Management, ticker is HCMC. I'm going to give you a good breakdown of the recent earnings that was submitted, and I've gotten a lot of questions as far as why brokers are indicating HCMC at 100% loss. So I want to break down all of that and go over all the things you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So when it comes down to HCMC, it is currently at 0001. And based on some FINRA updates as of, I believe it was 2013, they do allow some stocks to go down to 6 digits. Typically though, any OTC stocks that do go down to 6 digits basically are just dying, and this is where they go to rest potentially. So when it comes down to stocks, OTC stocks that are around 0001, this is historically when they start to do reverse splits, and then of course they do encumber a little bit more of a dilution factor as well working into that. But this is where HCMC is at a little bit more of a gray area. And of course, when it is at these levels, brokers and their systems, with it being so low, no matter what, even if you had millions and millions of shares, it for the most part would be almost worthless potentially. So it's just the algorithm and how the brokers are representing it. So it does show at 100% loss. Even my broker itself as well does show during this time period at least that HCMC is at 100% loss. But in reality, it's not. It's just very, very low. So once again, I just wanted to address that and bring that up. But potentially, like I said, that is something to worry about, the fact that it is touching this, especially with this recent earnings. So they did submit their earnings on the 30th. So I want to break this down and go over some highlights. So as you can see, based on their earnings as of December 31st, 2022, they had $22.9 million in cash. And of course, that's okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. Definitely it's gone down quite a lot from the previous year, but they've done a lot of actual acquisitions during 2022. So those are some pretty positive highlights, that fact that they're trying to grow. But generally speaking, looking here, so as you can see, the vape sales have gone down quite a lot, and that's largely because I believe in Q1, that's when they started to cease a lot of those vape sales. So it kind of goes hand in hand with what happened. Grocery sales did go up considerably, but the cost of grocery sales have also gone up an equal amount. So definitely not necessarily the best, but if you actually break it down on a CapEx kind of viewpoint, they are getting a little bit more beneficial, or at least productive with their money. So meaning it's costing them less to earn every single dollar versus the previous year. But grocery sales have gone up quite a lot, largely because of acquisitions, and also in 2021 there was a lot of COVID protocols, so a little bit more of a reduction in that fact as well. So definitely it's all very much assumed, but they still did, no matter what way you spin it, they lost $8.6 million. And this is where I like to play devil's advocate, but I'm very much questioning things. So for instance, if we go to the news, based on the actual August 22nd, 2022, this is their 4-point plan. In here, they actually do say that they're going to be profitable. So what I don't understand is how they're going to really spin off into HCWC, but yet instantly be profitable, because based on this whole spin-off, what they are doing is that they're just taking the grocery chain and the wellness center, and that's basically it. They're leaving the vitamin store and any other online components. So even the intellectual properties, they're just leaving with HCMC. So kind of is crappy in that regard, especially if you did get into HCMC because of, for instance, the vape store or potentially just the qcup, because those ones have some pretty fat profit margins, like I've said in the past. But just generally looking at this, it's not necessarily the best. But again, it is what it is. Moving on from that, there is some potential red flags that I did want to bring up. One of which was this. So I've seen a lot of people already start to complain about this, because in 2022, stock price has gone down tenfold. It's gone down a lot, but yet the compensation for a lot of the executives have gone up. So it doesn't necessarily make that much sense. So in 2021, there was $636,000 is what Jeffrey Holman, who is the CEO, made. And in 2022, $948,000. So definitely something doesn't add up. And somehow he got $350,000 in bonuses. So once again, just that doesn't look good by any means, no matter what way you spin it. You can't really double the amount of actual losses from operations but yet give yourself a bonus. It just is very, very bad, especially based on this whole 4-point plan. They're supposed to be giving and actually creating value for investors. So it really just sucks. And based on all of this as well, I think one of the most concerning parts of their earnings is to know that they actually have not started their buyback of $5 million. And I've done a couple of videos where I did say that most likely in November and December, based on the volume, it did signal that most likely they were starting their buyback. But unfortunately, like I said, based on the earnings, it doesn't look like that. So based on this, that was supposed to be number one. So step number one. On the vice versa though, they have actually started to do the equity capital raise, and they signaled that based on right here. So the note number 19 as of March 30th, they did that whole Series E preferred stock. So definitely they've started the dilution of, I think it is $13.25 million, if I remember correctly. But again, it just doesn't really add up potentially. So this is why that 13.25 or 13.5 million, whatever it was, isn't really encumbered on here, because this is only a snapshot as of December 31st, 2022, and that dilution did occur on March 30th, 2023. So once again, just be aware of that. And even just looking on their actual earnings though, the spinoff doesn't necessarily even signal HCWC by any regard at all. It just says that to look under note 14 and 19, and note number 19 doesn't really say anything. Like I said, it's just the future events, and note number 14 doesn't say anything at all. So again, not necessarily the best when it comes down to that. And especially going back to this 4-point plan, they've said many times, even looking at the latest PR from them on February the 14th, it does say that they are expecting it to be completed in the first half of 2023. Given the circumstances right now, I don't think that's very true or accurate. And I've seen a lot of companies do a full spin-off within 1 quarter. So the fact that it's taking them so long doesn't make sense. And they also do reiterate the New York Stock Exchange. And with that though, there has to be certain earning requirements. And like I've mentioned in the past, especially with this earnings, they don't qualify for the New York Stock Exchange. So now their only options are, for instance, another OTC spinoff, which would be complete garbage, or the NASDAQ. And when it comes down to the NASDAQ, they do tentatively qualify with exception of the stock price. It has to be over $4. So they would have to do a reverse split. And like I've signaled in the past, this is most likely going to be coming, and they would have to do it now. They cannot do it here, because this, like I already mentioned at the very beginning of the video, is when a lot of OTC stocks kind of die. They lay to rest. Because for instance, if something is trading at 6 digits and they do a 5 million to 1 reverse split, it basically just takes them back to almost here. Obviously, that's not an accurate representation, but you guys get what I'm saying. No matter what, it just would kill any value. And right now, it just shows that, for instance, Jeffrey Holman is just making some pretty good money behind the scenes, but yet investors are just bearing the brunt of it. So this whole 4-point plan is just not necessarily working out. As well, like I mentioned in the past and I like to watch, shorts are getting in. So even though it's kind of weird, but even though technically it's at 0001, shorts are very much getting in. Like they are anticipating a reverse split. Like I said, I think a lot of people do know that this is coming. It's just HCMC management has to announce it. So the transparency is just really gone, and investor confidence has just gone down massively. But of course, that's just my own interpretation. I'm not a financial advisor. You guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts on HCMC, or are you just wanting the spinoff for HCWC potentially, or are you just in it for the long haul? Let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on HCMC.